Hey everybody, this is Abby from Realistic Kitchen and Gardens. Today is Thursday, May 29th. We are, I think, 3 weeks after our frost-free date. It's been cool though. Overnight temperatures have been in the mid 40s, the lows. But daytime temps have been like 60s, 70s. Next week, of course, we're getting 80s. So things are not quite taking off as one would expect, but we're getting there. So starting with row A, tomatoes and nasturtiums. I also finally got my basils in. So this is one of 3 dark purple opal basil. I like these because the Japanese beetles don't eat them. They're a little bit more like succulent-y than regular basil, like Genovese style. It is a Genovese style and still plenty fragrant, but Gleam Mixed Nasturtium, one of 9. They're on the other side because they vine 5 feet long. So I have them 5 feet apart so they can go up and sideways and out. First 2 tomatoes are Bartelli cherry tomatoes. Grew this last year. My husband really liked them, and I always seem to get 2 to sprout when I only mean to get 1. So here's the 2 because I ended up getting a broken plant down the other end anyway. So it worked out. So there's the 2 only indeterminate varieties I'm growing. All the others are determinates, which are more bush style. I'm also using the basil to tell me where the next variety starts and stops because all these plants look very similar. The first of 7 Supremo tomatoes, which is more of a plum tomato shape, which also has already started fruiting, weirdly enough. So I'm going to try to get these things to use the cattle panel for support. I have already plucked off flowers when I transplanted, but they said, nope, we're ready. We're old enough. We're gonna have fruit. So here we go. 2, 3, 4. This is another one I plucked some blossoms and baby fruit off. 5, same thing. Plants look very happy now that they're out in the garden though, huh? You're gonna see a lot of bird poop on these plants because I have a ton of different bird species that like to sit on the cattle panel trellis. And the last one. I had 1 tomato, and I can't think of which one it was, but it started as a fork down the end. It didn't have a main leader. It was really weird. And then the next variety is Defiant, which is meant to be a round slicer type. I think there's one that has some fruit, but most of them are still at flowering stage. Also 7 plants of this variety. That one has some good growth. Look at that pretty. Here it is. Here's the one with fruit. Look at that already. Nice round fruit. See how you do. Ooh, this one has fruit too. I forgot. And there's another Gleam Mixed Nasturtium. God, these awful, they're like, it's in the nightshade family, as are the tomatoes, but they have the worst spines and it hurts like a son of a gun to either pull out or step on. Not that I mean to step on them. This is, I think, a lemon basil. I haven't labeled it because I didn't care that much. Next is Bobcat, which is supposed to be similar to Defiant, round slicer type determinate, and these are putting out fruit like crazy. They've also just been flowering. That one isn't, just to make a liar out of me. That one has a little tiny one just starting. Well, one of the benefits, I suppose, to starting my tomatoes so freaking early is I'm gonna have fruit really early, which may be a good thing, may not. And then we have, I think this is a Emerald Towers basil based on how wide the leaves are. They need a good shot of nitrogen. You can see how chartreuse they are, and they're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be a nice leaf green like the rest of them. And then lastly is New Yorker tomato. One of these was planted 3-3 and the rest of them were planted 329. This is the variety I had the germination issue with, and this is the only one of the original 2 because the other one, the very base of the stem broke. So I only have one of these older ones. Now that it's in the ground, it seems a little less frail, finally. The younger ones seem to be doing better of them, but this is probably what all my tomatoes should look like. They should really only be, you know, 1.5 feet tall instead of, you know, 3 feet tall in places. And I, of course, need to come out here and weed again, as usual, as always, blah, blah, blah. Story of my life. And then that's probably another lemon basil. Bolero Nantes carrot, looking great. Let's see if I can find any stubbies yet. I can't tell if that's a carrot or something right near the carrot. The one I choose, there's a little carrot that's not ready yet. They're a 75-day variety. God only knows what day I seeded them. Why would I have that information on me? And then this is conserver shallot, which is like a classic style shallot that are small and short and torpedo-y shaped, or round shaped, sorry. I'm the weirdo that grows torpedo-y shaped ones. Potatoes, which I need to weed. Also, story of my life. Been having some lazy back issues though. Looks like we might be getting a little bit of flea beetle damage. It doesn't usually actually bother them. Allegedly, cilantro is good for that, but I don't know what this fly thing is. You're very iridescent though, whatever you are. Anyway, Carla Rosa, early red variety. That one's behind. This one never showed up. I thought I saw one that had some buds on it, but that might be Eva. This is supposed to be a variety that's ready between 55 to 70 days, as early varieties are. Oh, it looks like you might be getting maybe little flower buds coming up. Maybe. One of y'all 2 weeks ago now told me that when potatoes flower, that's when they're putting their growth out, which I didn't realize. So thank you again for educating me. Here's Eva getting ready to put some flowers on, so yay. Potato production. Commence. Here's one open. They are white also, just like caribou russet. This is, Eva is a mid-season, so between 70 to 90 day harvest. Oops, throwing things, maybe. I don't know what the hell that is. What am I looking at? They might be aphids. Surprised there aren't ants there. Mid-season gold potato with good storage qualities. And then here's caribou russet. Again, flea beetle damage. Surprised I don't see flea beetles, but again, I've always had flea beetle damage with my potatoes. Look at these. I've never seen aphids in the flower before, but I don't have very good close vision. God only knows what they actually are. There's some big one of these things, and there's some little ones. Anyway, potatoes. Caribou russet is a russeted, textured, good storage potato. So I'm excited. This is the only one not putting flowers on, unsurprisingly. So it's probably too compacted for that one to really get good growth. That's probably 6 inches off the edge of the path. I should really give it more room. Celeries, row, where am I? See, celeriac, violas, and going back and forth. There's a new flower, smaller. Oh Jesus, look at all these seed pods. I'm never gonna have to plant violas again. That's fine. I like this variety. If I have to have any violas, I might as well have pretty ones. I could try to save seed. Wait till these pods dry up. Onion, wild invasive onion chive thing. This one's pretty too, but I definitely like that one more. It's like a Johnny jump up. This one's loaded with them too, the white one. I forget what this one was. This might have been another white and purple. Yeah, there's a little purple. That very first one was the orange one. So now I know not to plant violas so early, so that I get a little more time before they only do seed pods. Lupine, 2 of them Russell mix. I don't know what colors they'll flower, so we'll see. And then this is Tango celery, stock celery with the oyas, and that oya is dry, so I need to refill them, even though it's been raining this week. But oyas are just ceramic pots buried in the ground so that you can fill them up with water and it will slowly, gradually water the soil around them. 2 early jalapeno peppers with a basil. This basil is, I think, a Genovese. Yeah, Emerald Towers. I have seeded my okra. It's been cool, so I haven't been expecting it to come out yet, but it's in there. And then this is my 1 sweet banana pepper with a bunch of flowers on it. Bonfire red salvia, I finally got in the ground. Finally. Definitely late on that front. And then all the rest of these, except for the last 2 or 3, are sweet bell pepper mix. So red, ripening to red, orange, yellow, or purple. All of them start green. And we have a flower. Peppers are self-fertile, so you can whack them gently, kind of shake them, and you can get a bud on them. That's how I always get peppers. Another okra seeded orange, red burgundy. This has a flower on the ground, and there's a baby pepper. Basil, another pepper, okra seeded, another flower, another red salvia with no bloom on it yet. You are the first flower, as are you. Get all this grass off of you. Don't mind me just taking a second to pollinate my peppers. Perfectly normal. There's another little pepper here. Little teeny tinies. I'm really impressed because I feel like every time or whenever, like, I've read that peppers allegedly don't like to be exposed to under 55-degree temperatures. And it allegedly will stunt the plants. But joke's on them, I always accidentally stunt my plants anyway by keeping them too pot bound. Here's 2 more baby fruits in there. Not that it wants to focus on that. Okra, peppers, another bonfire salvia. Okra, nothing up yet, that's a thingy. Here's the saddest little lime basil there ever was. The lime basil got so stunted staying in that pot. I'm gonna have to do bigger pots next year. Another okra. That bonfire salvia is ready to open up soon. This must have a couple. Oh yeah, look at that little baby. Will you focus? The people want to see things. Okra, more peppers. I said to myself, self, we're gonna have peppers this year, gosh darn it. Pepper, basil, pepper, okra. And here's the last bonfire salvia. I didn't realize they curled over. I thought they were a little different than that. And then these last 2 plants are Thai Moon and Vesuvius Thai Chili with a little tiny pathetic lime basil. These plants are really weirdly curly. Like they need a chiropractor kind of thing. And 1 last okra. Okay, sorry, pollinating while I'm out here. Okay, nothing in here yet, needs to be weeded, This is, I'm going backwards in the row, so you're gonna have to bear with me. This is the first 3 plus 2 of Excelsior pickling cucumber. I have 2 pots that didn't germinate inside, but they're germinating out here, so whatever. 1, 2, 3. Again, pickling cucumbers, so they'll be small. There's some space here between for 2 more plants. And then this is the 3 plants of Supremo pickling cucumber. 1, 2, 3. Both varieties are getting some nice little growth on them, tiny primordial ovary type flower things. And then there's one more spot here, but here is 1 and 2 of Summer Dance slicer cucumber, my favorite, that did really well last year. They're technically a greenhouse cucumber, so they prefer greenhouse conditions. And if they cross-pollinate with other cucumber varieties, they'll curl up. They won't stay straight. So they may look funny, but they still taste good. Purple, red, strawflower. Hannah's Choice cantaloupe. Oya, cantaloupe. Random weed that I thought was real. But here's the bachelor's buttons getting ready to bud out. They're a purple variety. Cantaloupe. I think there's one more after that because I have the Oyas between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Here's the first cantaloupe. So they're doing pretty good. Mostly, you know, except when birds poop on them and burn their leaves. Strawflower, watermelon. This is, what is your variety? It's down the other end. What is your variety? Dixie Queen watermelon. Another Oya, Dixie Queen, Strawflower, Dixie Queen, Oya, bachelor's buttons. The most impressive of the Dixie Queen, with some rather large yellow wood sorrel, which is edible and tastes like lemon. These little, they look like clover, but they're technically an oxalis species. Yellow flower. I love them. They're very tasty. Catnip going up the wazoo. I mostly grow it for the flower, for pollinators, but it is in the mint family, so it gets a little bonkers. Gifted lemon balm. Also something in the carrot family. It's either a aberrant carrot from God knows when. I don't think I planted carrots here yet though. So it's probably a Queen Anne's lace, which is a wild edible carrot. And then Champion of England has its first few peas on. These haven't even plumped up yet. These are a shelling variety of pea that are meant to get 7 feet tall, so I'm expecting them to go all the way over the trellis. But getting their first peas, I could certainly treat them like a snow pea. They're plenty big enough. Lovely. And then these first 2 are Sarah's butternut squash, new variety to me. Here is Surge shelling pea with his first pea, which is diminutive, but this is a variety that is also grown for these pea sprout curly tendril, pea tendrils, that's what they're called, tendrils. People like to eat them like bean sprouts and things, and not my cup of tea. One of the things that I've noticed that I really like about Champion of England is that most of the flowers, the lowest flower I've seen is here, which is knee height on me. And I like that because I hate bending over. 30 years old and I hate bending over. I hate bending over, digging around in this absolute jumble of chaos, trying to find a green pea on a green vine. Really quick, can you see a pea? I can see it here. But that's what I really like about this variety. It's a shame though, because it's something like a 75-day variety, but it is nice that it produces as it gets big. It doesn't have to get all the way big and then start producing. I digress. This pea is little purple snow pea, so they'll be flat like those beginning, where is it? I can't see it on screen. There it is. Like that, it'll be flat like that. The peas won't be very big, but the hull shell is tasty. I planted both Surge and the purple snow pea way too close because I didn't expect good germination, and they're just going crazy. And then Waltham butternut squash, tried and true, very long variety. This might be a bachelor's buttons that made it, but I don't really know. I was willing to leave it because the rest of it is, here's narrow leaf plantain, which to be fair is edible, but it is extremely fibrous. You can even see the fibers there. It is good for skin salves, but I really don't eat it. It isn't worth it to me. But the bachelor's buttons, I'm sure, is not edible. I'm pretty sure this is what that is because you can see the feathery base of that there, kind of like the more mature ones have. And then here is a pepita pumpkin, which have the hullless peas and have lots of little ovaries and flowers getting ready to start. I don't know how long their vine is supposed to be, but that's those two. And then lastly is Styrian pumpkin, which is supposed to be the granddaddy of hullless pumpkins, hullless seeded pumpkins. So you get the pepitas out of them. You don't have to pry the shell off. Look at those great big flowers. The stem is so teeny, but that's a little concerning how tiny the vines are compared to the flowers, because the vine is obviously the, I'm going to say blood flow for lack of a better term. And here's another bachelor's buttons, which is probably at least 2 feet tall in the bulk of it, but lots of flower buds going. And again, it's a purple variety. This is where the zucchini is going to go. Haven't seeded that yet. Zucchini is not a favorite vegetable of mine, so it can wait. I also have a variety that is ready in 45 days. So again, it can wait. My little lavender patch, which I need to go on this side to actually read the varieties to you because I haven't remembered. Provence, very tall. Looks like very light colored flowers, but it's also not open yet. Hidcote, nice dark blossoms. Not open yet though, but nice stocky little plant. And then here's Munstead lavender. Another compact little plant. I don't know how old these plants are. I bought them, but these buds have been on here for a long time, which is nice if you want to harvest for lavender buds, culinary lavender, lavender scent, whatever, because you don't want them when they're open. You want them when they're closed like this. So that seems to hold on the plant better, Hidcote. But Munstead is supposed to be an old, like, what's the word? The word just went right out of my head. Can't think of it. And then here is my elegance lavender. Well, it has many blooms, the buds, tops. The buds are small. This one did flower a while ago, so it also holds pretty well. I mean, it's been at least a week on here that they haven't opened. So, elegance lavender. And then here's my very first seeding out here of lettuces. They're finally big enough. So these three are Landis, which I like better. It's supposed to be a cold hardy variety, but so far it's done really well. And then there is Adriana, which is supposed to be a really heat tolerant variety. And only one of those made it in this row. And then here's this other row, which was seeded on May 4th. And that's a violet. I thought that might, I'm looking through the screen at this one. But there is 1, 2, 3 Adriana. The other variety I seeded here was Buckley, red oak leaf lettuce, and I don't see any of it. Their seedlings are dark purple too. Not that it makes that easy to see, but. And here is potentially my pride and joy of the season. I'm so excited for this. This is my rainbow flower patch that I had been planting and decided to move. Cherry Queen zinnia, very tall, large variety of zinnia. I think it's technically a single bloom, variety, but it blooms a nice rich red. Sorry, I was looking at something. I was looking at this and trying to decide if it was a bloom or a weed. And I can tell it is that awful wild clovery thing. I thought I had something seeded in here, but I guess not. Strawberry Fields Globe Amaranth, which is red with yellow specks. Copper red, so copper bronzy on the outside, red in the middle. Straw flower. This is directly sown Bonanza Mix marigolds, which is right there, which should be in the ground. I think it was actually coated seed, which I've never seen for marigolds, but sure, we'll see what happens. This is a random mix of red, orange, yellow. Ooh, that might be one right there actually. Maybe. It's been a while since I've seen a little seedling marigold. I haven't seeded any yet this year. Orange button calendula, technically medicinal. And then this is baby sun coreopsis, which is white with a yellow with a little teeny tiny bit of red at the center. Wild violet petunia, which is like a fuchsia purpley pink, and some volunteered and transplanted German chamomile that was in the path that I transplanted out, which obviously is white. Whew, standing upright. White onion, 2 varieties total. I really need to try and, no, that's okay. They're getting thick, but they haven't started bulbing yet. This is 2 sets of Ringmaster white onion, and the last variety, there's the, where is it on the screen? I want to show you on the screen. Where did I just see it? God, I'm going crazy. Oh, there it is. There's the tag. So here over is Ringmaster and here over is Sterling. Both are white varieties, not sweet per se, but they're white. They're not made for storage, which I will probably turn into both onion powder and little diced dehydrated onion. My volunteer potato that didn't want to grow last year but did want to grow this year, getting ready to bud. Frickin' potatoes. Frickin' nature being funny. And there's the second one. Same thing. It's probably a gold potato. God only knows what, oh, and here's another one. God only knows what variety it is. It could be Butterball or it could be Eva from last year. I really don't know, because I tried to reseed halfway through. I have this tamped down. This will be parsnips in, I think, June. Frickin' yarrow. I hate yarrow. It's as bad as mint crawling around in your garden. I do like the smell of the foliage though. Weirdly medicinal though. Anyway, let's go down the end and then go back over. Patterson yellow storage onion. Have grown this in the past and really enjoyed it. This is 3 bunches worth. Each bunch is 4 dozen. So 4 dozen times 3. Plus a little extra just for funsies. And then here's the wildflower seeded patch. I have no idea what date I seeded it, probably 3 weeks ago now. And you can see a lot of what's coming up now. And some of it I can identify. I'm pretty sure this might be a poppy. No idea what any of this smooth stuff is. That's cilantro. I know there's cilantro in here, and dill, because I know it's herbs and flowers. I don't know if there's parsley too. I don't know if that's meant to be there or if it's a volunteer thing. So I'm gonna leave it and see what it turns into. Pretty sure this is a Cosmo or a Coreopsis. I don't know which is in this mix, if either. This looks like it might be dill. I'm not gonna harass it to smell it though, because I want it to grow. But that's basically what it all looks like all the way along. This like poppy mix, random smooth leafed things. I thought I saw a marigold in it the other day, but I haven't really. It'll be fun to see what has come up. There's a bunch of grass in there. And then here's a couple onions that, or shallots rather, that made it from last year's direct overwintering. It's another of the poppy type things. I assume it's poppy. I really don't know. I'm not super familiar with all of these. Here's a good example of cilantro. Bunch of these things. Another onion that I mowed over with a lawnmower before I put that cardboard down. And here's one of the High Keeper white onions. I'm not going to harvest it yet. Thank you for the bird poop on that, which I didn't see till I grabbed it. Hopefully it'll bulb up more. But that's what onions look like if you've never harvested onions before. Another cilantro. All the cilantro over here. Hell yeah. I won't have to seed any up near the house. And then here I transplanted out the snapdragons I had because I didn't know where the hell else to put them. I really need to plan these things better. But I tried to tuck them in so I didn't block any of the seedlings. I don't know what this is. This might be goldenrod, or it might be marigold, or God only knows. There's another cilantro. It's so easy to tell. Blech. All right, moving on. Garlic. Oh, my back. Jesus Christ. Get myself a little rolling cart to sit on. This is soft neck garlic. I forget what the variety is. Hasn't done super great, but this one is getting huge, and it must be cracking from all the sudden influx of rain we've had. Hasn't done very well. I'm kind of disappointed. I think I put out like 20 or some cloves, and I've gotten 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then all the hardneck varieties, God only knows what they are, but they are starting to scape. And I looked up, one of the reasons I keep this page, more my Facebook page, is that I looked up when I harvested scapes last year, and I harvested the majority of my scapes May 28th, so we're actually a teeny bit behind. So there's some good scapes down here, but look how thick this one is. I think I'm going to try to turn these scapes, because it's kind of a byproduct. You have to, they're the flower stalk of the hardneck garlic, and you need to pull them off so it focuses growth on the bulb, not on producing seed, because it's infamously infertile seed that's produced from hardneck garlic, unless you specifically try to grow it as a garden grower. But this is approaching what it should look like when it's ready. It'll go curly Q and then go straight out again. Again, there's some better ones down there, but we're getting there. It has been a weirdly cool spring. Here's another curly Q. This garlic is looking great this year. I'm very happy with it. Oh, you got stuck. You got a little stuck. Let me help you. There you go. That's a little better. Here you go. There's a good one. Curly Q, straight out. So that one is basically ready to harvest. Most of these look like that at this variety. Where's the stake? There's the stake. So there's the beginning of it, and it goes until there. There's the stake on the screen. So this variety is pretty close. This is probably part of that variety. I need to get better about separating my varieties. This has no scapes at all, whatever variety this is. Oh, I lied. Here's one. Here's the very beginnings of one. It's amazing how varied these things are. And then here's the last variety, which has a little bit of a scape. Little bit. There's a good curly Q, but that's a small one. This variety didn't do great down this end, did they? Interesting. That's a pretty good one. And then the rest is just looking at dirt because it's mostly seeded out, but it's not sprouting yet. Coral Fountains amaranth, flowers pink, ornamental amaranth, though you can, I'm sure, eat it. This is the start of my pole bean trellis. So one of these pole beans gets to 6 feet tall, and I think the other does 8 feet, or the corn is like that. I'm gonna have to look now. But this whole row, so beginning, middle, end, space for amaranth, beginning, middle, end, and then there's another amaranth way down there. So the amaranth gets pretty big. But I've seeded these 2 different varieties of pole beans. This variety down here is Carminat, which I'm going to put over here to make my life easy. Both are purple pod beans, because I like the purple pods to be able to see them real quick and keep going instead of digging in a pile of foliage, basically. And then here's the other one, which is literally called purple pole bean, because we're very creative in our names. This did not get weeded very well, but I'll let my beans come up and then I'll weed it better. So here's the end of the second variety, and then here are my peanuts, which I think I ended up getting 19 peanuts, and I spaced them 1 foot apart on center. So this is a new crop for me, so we'll see how this does. I've heard people having trouble with birds pulling their peanuts out of the ground, like the seedlings, but you can see the piece of peanut right there, and it's, knock on wood, still there. But I also have 1 squirrel on property, so that might help. So we'll see. This variety is Virginia peanut from My Gardener. I will say though that I was kind of irritated with germination, because I think I got something like 50% at best germination rate, so I'm not very happy, but we got something better than nothing. Learning experiences and all that. Cruciferous, spring cruciferous. Here is, you will not be able to see that with all that water on there. Early snow, you'll get to see what I get to see. Early snow cauliflower, and the third one, which did head early, surprisingly, but it has that pink stuff on it, and I don't know if it's a bacteria or if it's just sunburn. And then this is Fujiyama cauliflower. Sorry, got distracted. 1, 2, you can see a little bit of the under there, under that stupid clover. And then here's the last one, which is not headed yet. And then cabbages, tiara cabbage, 1, 2, 3. Katarina cabbage, 1, 2, 3. I have some white mustard in there that you really can't see, but it's to be both a companion and a seed. I want it for mustard seed. And then minuet Chinese cabbage, which has gotten royally shredded by frickin' slugs. I keep meaning to put some wood ashes out here, but I never remember to bring it down with me. I mean, it's a handsome looking Chinese cabbage, but I'll just have to get just the core to not eat slugs and slug poop and slug seeds. Ooh, that's fun. Brown mustard, no, white mustard, brown mustard. White mustard's a little more feathery looking. It doesn't even look like mustard, actually. The seeds look much more like an arugula type thing. Here's the brown mustard, which does actually look like a brassica by the shape of the leaves and all that. And then, look at this. I didn't even know, I didn't see it. The alyssum is flowering. So this is sweet alyssum that I seeded. I mixed it up, so there's white, purple, and gold, but the gold is kind of almost a different variety. It has a much longer seeding period. But looks like some of the white and purple is flowering, so that's really cool. And then this is where my corn is seeded, the majority of it. I covered it with this because I have read many a folk complain about things digging up their corn seeds and eating them. So I covered it with this, and there's nothing up yet anyway, so there's really nothing to see. But this is just some insect netting that I laid out flat. And I did 2 by 2, 1 foot apart, as seed packet says. This is the middle. So I didn't have quite enough fabric, but cloth fabric, whatever. And corn seedlings look like grass, because it is a grass. It's a very heavily bred, cultivated grass that produces really big seeds. So that's that. And then here's the uncovered bit that I think does still have its seeds in, knock on wood. God only knows where they are. But as far as I know, they're still in there. So that's what I've got for you. If you like this kind of stuff, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. The only thing that has to go in still is a few flowers and the zucchini. And of course, starting the cycle of fall crops, such as starting Brussels sprouts and, you know, whatever other fall brassicas I'm gonna do. Fall is a much heavier time for brassicas than spring is because it tends to stay cooler compared to spring does. Excuse me. So anyway, if you like this kind of stuff, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. And if you want more frequent garden updates, please follow my Facebook page, Realistic Kitchen and Gardens, for daily posts and food for what I use from my garden. Not that anything is coming out of the garden yet, but anyway. Okay, thanks. Bye.